You've probably lost count of how many Disney movies you've watched, but you know that Mickey Mouse's company loves hiding secrets in its creations. Did you manage to spot all the amazing details and Easter eggs hidden in Disney movies? In Elemental, there's a scene featuring a painting with various different colors. A die-hard Inside Out fan might notice that these colors match Riley's emotions, including the new emotions introduced in Inside Out 2, which was Disney's next film after Elemental. This makes it clear that Pixar, a Disney studio, often drops hints about its next project and its latest released film. And of course, the same happens in Inside Out 2. In the scene where the new emotions rummage through the pile of memory spheres scattered on the floor, one of these spheres reveals the silhouette of a boy. Many assumed he was just one of Riley's schoolmates, but we were able to identify that this silhouette is a clear reference to Elio, the protagonist of Pixar's next film. In Soul, there's also a reference to a Pixar movie that hadn't yet been released when Joe's film hit theaters in October 2020. The Easter egg appears as a poster with the text, "Visit Porto Rosso." This city doesn't exist in real life, but it's the fictional Italian town where the characters from Luca live. That film was also released after Soul, showing how well-connected Pixar productions are. But Disney has plenty of other spectacular Easter eggs in its movies, and you've barely scratched the surface. Ready? So grab your popcorn and settle in. Cinewave is starting now. Luca isn't exempt from having some really cool references. In the scene where Julia and Luca fly using wings designed by Leonardo da Vinci, they spot a wooden puppet walking through the town. That character isn't there for no reason. It's a clear reference to Pinocchio. And it makes perfect sense for Disney to pay tribute to this classic in Luca, since the film is set in Italy, the very country where the Pinocchio story originated. But the movie also references films from the 2000s. In one scene where Luca is underwater, there's a diving suit with a helmet identical to the one in Finding Nemo, a Disney classic from 2003. Inside Julia's room, we can spot another clear Easter egg referencing yet another classic Disney character. This time, it's a stuffed toy that looks very similar to Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse's friend, and Uncle Scrooge's nephew. Could Julia be a fan of Disney's older cartoons? In Frozen, there's also a tribute that only the most devoted Disney fans managed to notice. That's because a Mickey Mouse figurine appears for just a split second. As if its appearance wasn't already brief enough, it's also hidden behind other objects with only part of its body visible. The red shorts are definitely the most noticeable part, since we can't even see the famous big ears that everyone knows. In the same movie, another slightly more recent character appears in the form of a wooden figurine. You can spot him in the scene where Anna talks to Oaken, the shopkeeper who became a meme favorite. Mike Wazowski is just a bit easier to find compared to Mickey because he isn't hidden behind other objects. However, since he's missing his signature color, only eagle-eyed fans could spot him right away. And we give our sincerest congratulations to those super attentive people. And if you love Disney's Easter eggs, drop a comment below with #details. By now, everyone knows that Disney loves acquiring the rights to different franchises. They own the film rights to Marvel Comics characters and have already made 35 movies in the Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk, and other universes. Because of that, it's obvious they've referenced these characters in their animated films. In Finding Dory, for example, a truck's horn is designed to look exactly like Captain America's shield. Wow, now I want a custom horn like that. And in Ralph Breaks the Internet, did you notice how the Kingdom of Arendelle appears in the form of a snow globe? Well, that makes a lot of sense, considering both Elsa and Anna appear in the movie. Still in Ralph Breaks the Internet, there's a seemingly ordinary mug that appears in the movie. However, this same mug was already seen in that iconic Zootopia scene where the main characters are being helped by a sloth. Remember the Easter eggs referencing movies that hadn't even been released yet? Another example happens in Cars 3, when one of the cars mentions missing its hometown. Now, guess the name of the city where this character was born. It's Santa Cecilia, the same fictional town where Miguel from Coco lives. Does this mean that in the Cars universe, there's a version of Miguel as a vehicle? If so, what kind of car do you think he'd be? Speaking of Coco, we can't forget the Incredibles reference hidden in the movie. This incredible superhero family appears as a beautiful mural painting on a wall. Interestingly, they're painted as skeletons, referencing the Dia de Muertos festival happening during the movie. But if we think about it, the only Incredibles character who actually turned into a skeleton was Syndrome, the villain from the first movie. One of the funniest scenes in Coco is the Land of the Dead music contest. And the weirdest and most hilarious part of this scene is when an emo skeleton tries to play multiple instruments at once and fails miserably. But if you didn't notice, there's an interesting detail about this skeleton. He's wearing a black shirt with a skull printed on it. That's the exact same shirt that Sid, the sadistic kid from Toy Story, wears. Could they be the same character? Has Sid already kicked the bucket? There's another spirit in Coco that is more than meets the eye. This time, we're talking about a woman who has one single massive eyebrow instead of two. That's because her appearance is identical to Frida Kahlo, the world-famous Mexican painter who was born in 1907 and passed away in 1954. Since the movie is set in Mexico, this is a very fitting tribute.
Wow.
Soul is packed with references, and that's no joke. In the scene where Joe Gardner, the movie's main character, is in a subway station, we can see a number on one of the trains, 2319. And this number isn't random at all. It also appears in Monsters, Inc. and is used as a code for the presence of hazardous material in Monstropolis. In that movie, hazardous material refers to anything that comes from the human world, like a sock. I know you're loving these Disney Easter eggs, so how about subscribing to the channel to always get our daily videos about your favorite animated films? But the scene with the most Easter eggs in this movie happens when Joe's soul is taken to a hall where you can find every item in the world. Because of that, the place is packed with objects, and many of them are cool Easter eggs referencing other Disney films. To start, how about talking about the famous Disney Castle, the same one that appears at the beginning of almost every animated movie from the company. In this same scene, we also have another really cool Easter egg. This time, it's from one of Pixar's most iconic elements, the lamp that appears in the studio's intros ever since the first Toy Story movie. But actually, the lamp originally appeared in a Pixar short film called Luxo Jr., which was released even before Toy Story, the movie that really put the studio on the map. And of course, in a scene full of Easter eggs like this, we also get a reference to the classic Pizza Planet truck. It first appeared in Toy Story, and ever since then, it has become an Easter egg featured in various Pixar movies over the past 2 decades. It's nice to know that this truck is still delivering pizza, even in the afterlife. But this place isn't just full of objects, it even has living beings, like whales. In this same moment, you can spot a whale in the background that looks a lot like the one Dory tried to communicate with in one of the funniest scenes from Finding Nemo. When it comes to Disney, there's no way this is just a coincidence. So yeah, this might just be the biggest Easter egg ever in a Disney movie. But if there's one object in this scene that is definitely not just a coincidence, it's the massive spaceship that looks exactly like the one from WALL-E. In that Pixar classic from the 2000s, humans were forced to live in space because Earth became too polluted. And seriously, the ships are identical. And to wrap up this Soul Easter egg hunt, among all these objects, there's also a Ferris wheel that definitely references the one Duke Kaboom jumps off of in Toy Story 4. Honestly, we could spend all day talking about just this scene. But now, let's move on to Easter eggs from other amazing Disney films. In Tangled, there's a scene where baby Rapunzel gives us some hints about the movie's plot. Hints that most people only notice after watching it multiple times. In this scene, baby Rapunzel looks at the toys in her crib, and these toys are actually Easter eggs referencing elements from the movie itself. 2 of these toys resemble a chameleon and a horse, clear references to Pascal, Rapunzel's best friend, and Maximus, the horse that joins her and Flynn Rider. The rubber duck toy references the tavern full of thieves they visit, since its symbol is a duck, and the angel toy connects to the bandit dressed as Cupid, who appears in that tavern. Sometimes the most interesting details in a movie aren't in the background, but in the characters themselves. A great example is Scar, the villain from The Lion King. Normally, lions only show their claws when fighting or feeling threatened, but Scar is different. His claws are always out. It's a subtle way to show his suspicious and treacherous nature. He's always ready to attack. In Hercules, there's another detail that only makes sense if you really think about it. In one scene, Hades has a vision where 6 planets in the solar system align. But wait, the solar system has 8 planets, not 6. And that's the key detail. In ancient Greece, people only knew about Earth and 5 other planets, since the rest couldn't be seen without special instruments. That's it for this video, but we've got 2 more fun videos on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!